The war came quietly to the hills, carried on the wind, hidden in the mist. No one in Nagaland knew it had begun until the soldiers arrived. It came not by sea or sky, but by footsteps through the jungle. Japanese divisions pushing from Burma toward India in 1944. Between them and the British lines stood a small frontier town, Kohima. What followed was one of the fiercest battles of the entire war, later called the Stalingrad of the East. For the Nagas, the war was never just Britain's war. It was a clash that reached their own villages. It became their own. Some aided the Japanese. Most stood with the British Indian Army under Deputy Commissioner Charles Posey, who refused to abandon the town. Nagas carried supplies through fire, carried the wounded through rain, and guided Allied patrols through valleys that no map could describe. Among them was a young man from Phiro, a small village in the hills of Nagaland. His name was Yambamo Lotha. He would fight first for the King of England and later for the nation of the Nagas themselves. His life would span 2 armies and 2 worlds. When war spread across Asia, Yambamo enlisted in the 1st Battalion of the Assam Regiment, part of the 19th Indian Division, the Dagger Division. He trained as a Lance Nayak, a junior leader. The regiment was young, its men drawn from the hills of the northeast: Nagas, Kacharis, Mizos, Garos, men who knew the jungle better than any map maker. 3rd of May 1945, Pindalian East near Tungu, Burma. His section was deep in the jungle on a mission to locate and destroy a Japanese patrol. At just 25 yards, they suddenly came face to face with 16 Japanese soldiers, a deadly distance in thick forest. The official battlefield report states that Yambamo personally surprised the enemy, fired first, and killed several. Then he led his men forward into a flanking position, again within 25 yards, and killed 3 more. His steadiness under fire, his control of the Bren gun, and his refusal to retreat saved his section. His officers wrote that his courage and dash in the face of an enemy superior in numbers was an inspiration to the men under his command. He was immediately recommended for recognition. But his war wasn't over. 28th of July 1945, Aung Ban, Burma. His section again encountered a determined Japanese force. They were hit first, heavy automatic fire cutting through the thick jungle. Yambamo reacted instantly. He took control of his Bren gun, held his line, and gave covering fire that allowed his men to fall back into safer positions. His commander wrote that Yambamo undoubtedly saved many lives. His coolness, his leadership held the entire section together. For this action, he was awarded the Military Medal, one of the Empire's highest honors for bravery in battle. The citation bore the signature of Major General T.W. Rees, commander of the 19th Division. By then, the 1st Battalion of the Assam Regiment had earned a fierce reputation in the Burma campaign, moving fast through jungle country where other units struggled. Yambamo's action only strengthened the battalion's standing within the 19th Division. Like many who fought in the Burma campaign, he was awarded the Burma Star, a recognition of every soldier who endured the long, punishing march through Burma. A few months later, another document arrived, this time from the commander of the 4th Corps, Lieutenant General Sir Frank Massavi, one of the most senior officers of the Burma campaign. Typed on the official paper bearing the elephant insignia of the 4th Corps, it read, "Many congratulations on being awarded the military medal. So well won by your gallantry in action. I am more than proud of what you and those with you have done to win such great successes for 4 Corps and help achieve final victory. All good luck to you in the future." Signed simply, F.W. Massavi, Lieutenant General, Commander, 4 Corps. It was not just a commendation. It was a salute from a general to a soldier who had fought in one of the world's hardest terrains and earned his place in history. For Yambamo, it was a moment of pride and perhaps a quiet realization that even an empire as vast as Britain could still see the courage of a man from a small hill village. The war was ending, but the jungle still smelled of gun oil and rain. On Christmas Day 1945, another gift arrived, a captured Japanese bayonet. The certificate read, "Presented by the Army authorities, permission granted to retain as private property." It was a soldier's gesture, not a bureaucrat's, a token of respect from one warrior to another. In the months that followed, his name traveled farther than he ever had. Printed twice in the London Gazette, the Empire's highest official record. The first mention came in September 1945. The second on the 1st of November 1945, carried the words that defined his wartime legacy. When the war ended, the medals he carried told the story even when he did not. The Military Medal for Gallantry, the Burma Star for the Jungle Campaign, and the War Medal of 1939 to 1945 for full wartime service. Then came 1947, the year the world he knew changed forever. India became independent. The British flag was lowered. And in a ceremonial parade, Yambamo stood once more in uniform before the governor of Assam, Sir Muhammad Saleh Akbar Haidari. It was the last medal he would ever receive as a soldier of the king. It was the last medal of the empire and the first of independence. The world was rebuilding, but for many Nagas, the war had already changed everything. They had fought bravely for an empire that would soon depart. And when it did, a new question rose in its place. Who do we fight for now? But for the Nagas, war had rewritten loyalty. In 1947, India became independent. But on the eve of that independence, the Naga National Council had already declared their own. Nagaland free and separate. The British left, the Indian state moved in. For veterans like Yambamo Lotha, loyalty became complicated terrain. For the Nagas, the war had not ended. It had merely changed uniform. They had learned organization, discipline, and modern warfare under the British. Now they turned those same lessons toward defending their own homeland. Under A.Z. Phiro, the Federal Government of Nagaland was proclaimed in March 1956. Its military wing, first called the Naga Home Guards, later the Naga Army, needed structure. And in its earliest records appears a name: General Yambamo Lotha, Adjutant General of the Naga Home Guards. The title meant more than a rank. An Adjutant General turns recruits into soldiers, responsible for training, discipline, and readiness. He brought the discipline and precision of the British Indian Army into the heart of the new Naga resistance. But history remembers him in another way.
뭐 인디아입니다. 산소스 인디아 산취만 독스 우리 성아로 뭐 대인열대 전다 쓰기세죠. 우리는 나갈린 장가마 아나 디얀 인산스 디야요 보본방가 다나 되절리는 거 그마돌라 덴잔랴 나갈린 난호 인디아 킬로바나나 호노로 제라니나 에 캡사가마 에자베제나 반치메고 에디노 에줄리 그마고메 되는 디안서 반치 카달라 스자얀제 에즘장나 반치메고 에톨란달라 나가메데 해초초거나 이체벨라 또 뭐나도 교수 이초거나
고에마 government high school na khabana thang oye tarolwana thang no 고에마 제로에 텍소다죠 오ye etamo seto punatana yisa kumai oye moisele no adama mo rensodaga 이는저 오코나 브리게더 헤링에 남보 만도서 아마 오예 mon동을 해 수도나 하 mon하도 소가 그래서 오카 벨레솔나 하 오예 아전이 좀 너무 너의 저게 렌트 모드로 원이나 하 헬로케 조연 독대 원이나 하연도 저게 엔터 남보 너무 원한 소가 고가도 뜻하죠 아마 호체나 오모제노 센시가 저들아 최고의 아르메 저 비사도노 저 도난 뭐에 교시죠 뭐 야마모 비과도 저는 어떻게 그마 에지나 저 기능 에지나 저도 버그라이즈나 오소가 저런 Assam Regiment 상 자반들 소조제 또 분함보나 해해 소조 또 분하 원소지는 뭐 또나 바하드레 비나에 또 어제나 저죠 에라나 저도 있었잖아. 일단 점을 잘 가냐서죠. 어떻게 오면 지오세 어유센세나 서로 뭐 올려는 거지. 어머 아프나 플랜된 상대비서 뭐나 호그마음카 오선에 벤서 몰라 갈라 저소조는 뭐매 소조는 뭐 어떤지 보다로도 내가 뭐
From the hills of Sunnis, where the federal government first met, Yambamo helped shape the command that would fight for decades to come. The years that followed were violent and uncertain. The Indian Army entered the Naga Hills. Villages burned. Peace efforts failed. Amid this turmoil, Yambamo was killed in action at Nlongidang village on the 6th of November 1956, serving as Lieutenant General of the Naga Army. He gave himself for his country's tomorrow. 10 years later, in 1966, the Federal Government of Nagaland issued a tribute of honor signed from Oking, the underground headquarters. It read, "We count him as one of the most worthy and remarkable men of Nagaland. During our political struggle and the series of abnormal events attending it, he led our nation with courage and determination in the manner of old Moses." The empire had once decorated him with a medal. His own nation now remembered him as a martyr. Decades passed, borders hardened, ceasefires came and went, yet his name endured. In 1992, a book titled Zapu Phizo, Voice of the Nagas appeared. Its author, Peter Steen, had once served in the same battalion as Yambamo during the war. He dedicated the book in memoriam to Pastor Pelesato Chase and General Yambamo Lotha, whom I remember as a young, fun-loving soldier in my battalion. Across half a century and 2 continents, the bond of comradeship remained. Today, within the modern Naga Army, one brigade still carries his name, the Yambamo Brigade. Soldiers there know the story, how a Naga from Phiro earned the King's Medal, then turned his skill to build their first army. His life binds the 2 chapters of Naga history, colonial service and national struggle. In a modest home in Nagaland, his medals still shine. The silver of the military medal, the bronze of the Burma star, polished by the hands of his wife, guarded by his son. These are not museum pieces, they are family inheritance, relics of faith and duty. 8 decades after the Battle of Kohima, his story returns, not as rumor, not as myth, but as fact, written, witnessed, and proven. For the Nagas, his journey reflects their own, from subjects of empire to seekers of self-determination. Empires fall, nations rise. Courage remains.